Morning. My name is Dr. Chloe Latham-Sykes. I'm the Deputy Director of Policy at IDRA, and IDRA is a 51-year-old educational, nonpartisan, nonprofit organization working here in Texas and Georgia and across the U.S. South and nationally. And we do our work through research, through educational practice programs, in-school programs, working with students and teachers, offering teacher training and equity and technical assistance, and also through people-driven policy that is based in families and communities and students in schools, driving policy and advocacy for the schools they want to see. We have consistently opposed private school vouchers based on the facts. They drain desperately needed funds from state school budgets. They do not improve students' learning or educational opportunities. And voucher programs ultimately require students and families to waive their state and federal legal protections that they can find in schools. So as you just heard from Dr. DeMatthews, private school vouchers hurt students' learning and educational outcomes. Studies show that private school vouchers do not improve student achievement, and research on voucher programs in Louisiana, Indiana, Wisconsin, Washington, D.C., Alabama, Ohio, Arizona, and others find that students using voucher programs do visibly worse in reading and math than their counterparts in public schools. This is not about improving students' learning outcomes or increasing their educational attainment. And children are much more vulnerable to discrimination in private school settings because those schools are not required to serve all students equally under the law. Students with disabilities in special education, in bilingual education, or of diverse religious and gender identities can all be denied admission or actual educational services. And because of that widespread discrimination, last year, Illinois became the first state to actually repeal its voucher program and let it expire because of widespread discrimination for students in Illinois schools. Public money should not be used to fund discrimination against children. This isn't about giving students educational opportunities in the face of discrimination so rampant. And voucher programs disempower parents. We hear a lot about parental rights, but last year, each of the proposed voucher bills here in Texas, in this building, would have required that parents waive their rights and the rights of their children under state and federal laws to participate in those programs. That means that students with disabilities, students needing learning accommodations, students who require other types of language programs could all be denied educational services or even admission to those schools or the program, and parents would have no way to legally advocate for them. Students could be denied admission or services based on their own religious background or affiliations, or their gender identity, or their sexuality, and parents would have no way to appeal or defend their children. And students could be disciplined unfairly, suspended or expelled, and parents would have no recourse under those legal protections because there would not be any in those settings. And private schools receiving public money from a voucher do not have to report on any types of student educational outcomes. At a time, and we'll have this hearing tomorrow, when we're talking about learning recovery and grappling with learning recovery in reading and math for our students post-pandemic, why would we want to publicly fund an entirely separate program where we have no idea how the students do and how they're learning and how they can achieve and graduate and succeed? So this is not about parental rights or transparency or accountability. So what is this about? This is about a privately funded distraction from the enormous educational debt that the state of Texas owes our children and their families. All children deserve to attend well-funded, safe, and supportive schools that allow them to enter as their full selves every day, where they can show up and learn and be themselves in their entire being and all their identities. We deserve that, and we owe that to our children and our families. This issue of private school vouchers gets called a civil rights issue of our time, and in many ways it is. School vouchers present a deep threat to our students' civil rights and parents' rights to be involved and advocate for them in their children's education. Let's fund our public schools in a meaningful and full way. Let's make sure all students are safe, teachers are compensated, buildings are well-resourced, and they have the appropriate materials they need to learn and thrive. Thank you.